Welcome to the next chapter of As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome Nick Mavromatis, vocalist for October Ends, to the podcast. October Ends released Phases last Friday on UNFD Records. The band blends metalcore, electronic, nu metal, and pop, and Phases is an interesting exploration of various sounds, and as a record, I think it works really well together. As always, there are some song clips in this episode that will give you an idea of what the band sounds like, but make sure you check out the record in full and let me know what you think. Making the move to Newcastle to join October Ends right before the pandemic hit, and his influence in songwriting and what inspired Phases. If you've looked around news surrounding social media these days, everything seems pretty bleak. If you've considered quitting social media, never fear. You can still connect with As the Story Grows by joining our mailing list or coming and hanging out on our Discord server. Links will be in the show notes. Enjoy getting to know Nick from October Ends. How are things going for you?
Yeah, pretty well. We're in the middle of preparing for a show for the album launch.
That's rad. Where are you currently in the UK? This just says English metalcore band.
Yeah. So we're in Newcastle.
Okay.
I'm not originally from Newcastle. I'm actually from Greece.
Oh.
Me and the others are both from Athens, Greece.
Oh, nice.
I've been here a couple of years. Everybody else is from Newcastle, though.
Gotcha. What brought you to Newcastle from Greece?
It was actually the band. Like the other singer, George, has been in the band for a good few years, and then I was invited as well. And,
nice.
Like, what the hell? Sure.
That's awesome. Well, let's go back. What was growing up in Athens like for you?
Yeah, it was really nice. I grew up in the suburbs. When I was really young, it was all good. Like the Greek economy was good, and that, but then it all went south. And then like it was never too bad for me, but like growing up in a city that's like there's so many homeless people, and like there's a lot of poverty, and like and a lot of unemployment as well. It's like sometimes it isn't very nice. Even if things aren't as bad for you, still it's like not very nice growing up there.
Yeah, it's tough to see that all the time.
Yeah.
What got you into music?
What got me into music? It was my school friends, my friends from secondary school. They started getting like into. It was actually one friend of mine, my best friend at the moment. He started playing guitar, and then he met another guy who was playing guitar, and they wanted to start the band, and then they were looking for like a singer.
Yeah.
I wasn't singing at the moment. I wasn't a musician or anything. I started learning after I joined. And then they also needed a bassist, and because we couldn't find one, I learned to play the bass as well.
Nice.
So that's basically how I got into it.
That's funny. What were you listening to at the time? Like, what was that musical direction early on in your formative years?
At that moment when I started doing music, I was a lot into like Metallica, like Megadeth, freaking Motorhead, Scorpions, a lot, like Queen, stuff like that.
Pretty like classic metal stuff.
Yeah, pretty basic metal stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome. What is the music scene like over there in Athens, especially if you were into like metal or wanted to play that?
You mean what is the scene over here now or back then?
Back then, yeah, that you grew up in.
Oh, right, yeah. Athens and Greece in general is not like a very good place for metal. There definitely are people who are listening to it and they're good fans. And the scene for a while was okay. Like you would go into shows and like you would see a good amount of people and like decent like bands playing there, but we were all like high school bands and like the bands that were older than us, they were playing like really old school metal. So there was never like a big like scene in Athens. It was just okay back at the time. Now I think there's very few bands actually nowadays. I think the scene is basically like non-existent right now.
Yeah. What was your trajectory to when October Ends gives you a call to join the band?
It was very funny actually because like I knew another Greek guy that was in the band back then. He was the bassist, and I actually texted him because he was also doing like his own solo stuff as a like he's a rap artist. And like I gave him a text, like I knew him, and I was like, "Oh, hey man, like your new song sounds great, fucking sick." And he was like, "Oh man, I'm sick of like doing rap stuff. Like I moved to England and I'm only doing metal from now on."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck yeah." And then at the time, I was so fucking like, I was unemployed. I didn't have money at all. He even bought me the ticket to like come here, and like within like 2 months from that discussion, that random like text, "Hey dude, your song's great," I was in Newcastle.
That's awesome. What was that transition like from you from Greece to Newcastle?
I was very unsure at the beginning because like it's not like I visited here to see like if I wanted to join the band or like if things would work out well for me. I just came here with having in mind that like I'm gonna do it. So like whatever happens, whether you like it or not, you're going there, you'll do it. So that was a little bit stressful, but like meeting the guys and doing music together, stress went away, and like things started going well really fast. Other than COVID, like I came right before COVID. That was a like bummer, but other than that, it was a good transition.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. At what point in COVID did you make the transition? How was that for you? Kind of, I guess, were you living in like a band house? So like you guys were together when COVID hit, or were you just like in this new city all alone and now in lockdown?
Yeah, luckily I was in a band house. Like it's two of us that live together. It's different people now than it was back then, but it was still like two people from the band back then. And if it weren't like if I wasn't in a band house, I don't know if I would be able to like go through it. To be honest, like I don't know too many people here. I don't know people from the scene. I don't know other bands. Like so yeah. It went well because we were in the band house, we were doing stuff together, we wrote loads of music. It was fine. You guys released Zodiac
in 2020. What was the decision to release music during the pandemic? Just like you had the songs and wanted to get it out there?
Yeah, exactly. Like we didn't even like write. That was when I joined the band a little bit before we released Zodiac. So other than like 2 songs, I wrote. Sorry, I didn't write anything for this album.
Okay.
It was all like, demos that we had, like either me or Michael, and we worked together into like just producing them, and like we just put it out there. It went surprisingly well for like the effort that we put into it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we didn't write much for that. It was like already when I joined the band, like I wrote like only Devil's Den and Iridescent for that album.
Was there something you were bringing different to the band? Because like listening to the new album and listening to Zodiac, like there's a different sound, like there's way more pop elements and electronic influence. Is that something you were bringing, or something that just kind of happened naturally while you were writing over COVID that you could experiment more?
Yeah, Zodiac compared to Phases, like you said, there's a massive difference to the sound. And that's basically me, and also Alex joined the band after we released Zodiac. So Alex is our second guitarist. He's also doing the rap vocals on the songs. So we are the main songwriters for the new album. Whereas for like the last album, it was me and Michael. But like I said, from the previous album, I didn't write any songs. It was just demos, and it was demos that I thought the band would like. It wasn't the demos that I would write as like myself. After being in the band for like a couple of years, the guys like are now trusting me, and just like I basically do whatever I want to hear as a musician. So yeah, that's the story of the evolution in our sound.
That's awesome. What led you guys to UNFD Records?
I think that has never been confirmed, but I'm pretty sure that we're with United Talent Agency. They were the first like serious people to approach us, and I'm pretty sure that they went ahead and like showed our stuff to like people, including our management and UNFD as well. And it's a cool story because like UNFD approached us like almost like a few months after we got signed with our management company. And like for a year, like they've been like emailing us, hey guys, do you want to get into a call with us? Do you want to get into a call with us? Let us know when you're ready to get into a call with us. And like every time our manager was being like, it's not the time right now. It's not the time right now. You got to wait. And it's like, we haven't really been talking, but we've been approached for like a year before we signed to them.
Oh, wow.
And then we recently signed as well. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Were you bringing to UNFD like demos of like the new stuff you had been working on, so they knew kind of where the sound was headed?
Yeah. We did. I think the demos that we showed them were Destroy Us All and the song that we're gonna release this month. It's called Call Me Before I'm Dead. By the way, have you listened to the whole record, or like?
I have, yeah.
Listen to the whole record.
I did, yeah, because it was. I heard the single and I was like, I said, can you just send me the whole record, because I think I will like this band if I listen to the whole record, and here you are. So
that's amazing. That's good to hear. I hope you liked it.
I did, yeah.
What is your favorite song?
Oh man, what's my favorite song? Of Stars is really good. Yeah, Destroy Us All is killer. What is it? I think it's Alive. Stood out to me. So.
Oh right, okay, yeah. Oh yeah. We've talked about. We kind of wanted to release that one as a single, but it's probably not going to be one of them. You know that you liked it though.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. Where'd the name Phases come from for the record?
The name Phases has a double meaning to it. It kind of, so one of the meanings is related to the music itself and the songwriting process of the whole album, which I'm gonna explain in a bit. And then the other one has to do with the lyrical content. So for the lyrical content, it's like, people go through phases in life, and because the songs don't have like a common theme or anything that like is sort of related to each other. They don't have a relation with each other. The title Phases kind of describes like what you're going through life, and it kind of talks about like mental health issues, or like drug addiction, which is for us personally writing this album. So going through a drug addiction is kind of like a phase, because none of us is like a permanent user or anything. We've been through phases where we've been through phases where we had like some kind of mental health issue, either that's depression or like anxiety, stuff like that, or like a really bad like breakup phase that you go through. That's the phases meaning behind the lyrical content. And then the music side of it is pretty much the phases we were going through, the music phases we were going through writing the album. And what I mean by that is that me and Alex, who mainly wrote the songs, don't only listen to metal, as you can probably tell. Yeah. So we went through phases we were listening to like chop or like R&B or like pop music, or cyberpunk or movie soundtracks. So depending on what phase we were going through, we would write a song about it. Not about it, but like being influenced by that phase, that musical phase we were going through. So that's that is mainly the meaning of phases.
Do you feel it's easy to write a record like this where you can have Destroy Us All, which is like the super heavy metalcore track, and then you can have other tracks that are more trap, R&B, new metal inspired, and it's just like, because of the way streaming music is, like there'll be somebody who picks up the whole record, but there'll be somebody who just says, I really like this song, and even if they don't like your whole album, they can still attach themselves to your band and be a fan of your band in some way.
Yeah, that is like it wasn't something that influenced us on writing the album. We weren't like, oh, we're gonna write a song that like trap people will like, or like fun people will like. But at the same time, this is something that you can definitely get out of the album, because that's what the music is like. So yeah, I guess that's definitely a good point, but it wasn't something that made us like that. It didn't shape the record, but it kind of turned into that at the same time.
Yeah. There seems to be this influx among younger, newer, up and coming like metalcore bands where there's a lot more R&B, trap, pop music influence infiltrating the music. Do you think that just comes from the accessibility of streaming music, or is there something? I mean, maybe it's something different from you from a band in America or France or whatever. But like, do you think there's something with the nature of streaming music?
I wouldn't say so. Like for me, I've been listening to R&B or pop or whatever that is, like everything other than metal, basically my whole life. And I think every person who writes music like that doesn't, not every, but like most people that I know of who write metal music, they don't only listen to metal.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the past like couple of years that people have actually, I mean, it's been done before. It's not like it's been done for the first time the past couple of years, but it's been the past couple of years that a lot of people started doing that, putting more influences into their songs. And I think it's because it's a weird thing to say, but I think it comes a lot from Bring Me the Horizon, because they were, as far as I know, the first people to like kind of really push like the limit as to what can be labeled as metal or what a metal band can do.
Mm-hmm.
And like with Ammo, for example, their album Ammo, they did like whatever they thought they sounded cool.
Yeah.
And that was acceptable by a lot of people. I think that Bring Me the Horizon being accepted for that thing, there were obviously a lot of people who hated it and still do, but there were a lot of people who like it. And now, because the metal community is like a lot of the listeners are like very narrow-minded, and if you do something that strays a bit from metal, they're gonna like hate the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And we've been getting hate. Like if you watch the comments on our YouTube videos, they're hilarious. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who love this kind of genre, like blending and mashing. So I think this is mainly why a lot of people started doing it and not give a shit about what one part of the metal community thinks.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if like a younger generation was more just open to it, and just than like that people like me who are old and stuck in our ways of listening to music. But I think like as I've listened to it, I've come to appreciate it more, and I think I've come to appreciate it more on record than in single fashion, because I like it like the Banks Arcade record, they're on UNFD too. That was another one where I heard the singles and I was like, I don't know, and then I heard the record and I was like, oh no, this is really fucking great. So and same with your record. I heard the single and I was just like, let me hear the record because I'll like the record.
You were like, I don't like the singles as much, and then you're like
yeah, it's true, sometimes things just make more sense when you can see the whole picture. So
yeah, it does make more sense.
Yeah. You said you guys were getting ready for a show. Any other plans for the rest of the year? The year is coming to a fast close, but 2022, 2023, what's on the horizon for the band?
Not yet. Like other than the album launch show, we don't currently have any other plans, sadly. But it is something we're working on, obviously, and we're hoping to have a tour or other shows like really, really soon.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.
I never felt so young tuned. And now I'm learning as I listen along, and the wheels are turning, and I started a song. One good word and I'm gone. Oh, as the story grows, the more I want to know, the more I want to show you. As the story grows, as the story grows. You can create something lasting and great, something passionate and real. And I'll bring in my own good feelings, I'll sing it with meaning. Let's just attack it and never look back. It's wild and fantastic. All together at full power, we're so much better. What's that word?